A last chorus for your ears only. I'm David Alpern with Mark Garber from our July 13th broadcast.
A fine romance with no kisses. A fine romance, my friend. This is.
You never give the orchids I send a glance. No, you like cactus plants. This is a fine romance.
Despite the ironic tone of that particular song by Dorothy Fields and Jerome Kern from the 1936 movie Swing Time, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers were Hollywood's great icons of fine romance. In song and dance, effortlessly synchronized, or so they made it seem, and glorious black and white as grateful audiences ground through gray days of the Great Depression.
The magical couple's songs and stories are celebrated by cabaret and concert veterans Steve Ross and Karen Oberlin this Thursday, July 17th, at the 54 Below Supper Club in Manhattan. It's called Cheek to Cheek, after the Berlin song Fred and Ginger introduced in 1935. And to talk more about it all, for your ears only, Steve and Karen join us again now. Welcome back to our show.
Astaire came to Hollywood from a well-established career on Broadway and shows that he did with his sister Adele, though she was the more famous. Tell us about that and his early roles before Ginger.
He had a very creative stage mother. There they were in Omaha. And she thought there was a life in Omaha, especially when she had on her hands her vivacious and very talented little daughter, Adele, and her somewhat more serious younger brother, Fred. So, like the song in Chorus Line, I Can Do That, Fred goes along to the dancing lessons and soon realizes that he can do it too, and he wants to be part of the limelight, and he even sets up a little dance that he stages for her and him in little wedding outfits. And he was already staging and putting things together, and they became quickly a very popular kiddie act in the vaudeville days of the teens. Well, they started off before then, but throughout the teens. And then when they, George Gershwin put them in a musical called Lady Be Good. This is the musical that put them and George on the map.
And Karen, tell us what Ginger was up to before the films with Fred.
Similar beginning. She was on tour as a kid. Ginger and the Redheads toured around. She had a few opportunities from being on the road. Had a mother also who was very invested in her daughter's livelihood and career. And she toured until she ended up also on Broadway, also becoming a star after a few other Broadway shows due to a Gershwin Broadway musical called Girl Crazy that also made a star of Ethel Merman. And one of the paid choreographers on that Broadway show, Girl Crazy, was none other than Fred Astaire. And then she went out to Hollywood and started making films before Fred did. She was a little bit ahead of him,
right.
And made a film, a Busby Berkeley film called Gold Diggers of 1933 that really sort of put her on the film map.
Steve, what do we know about how Rogers and Astaire were first teamed up for a film?
Their first one, we actually do a number from that. Their first appearance on the screen was in Flying Down to Rio, and I guess the producer thought, well, here we have these two bright young things. Let's see how they go together. And the rest, as they say, is all kinds of magical histories.
And I think Fred was a little frustrated with his partners, or so say some. And I've read that he said, well, what about Ginger Rogers? Because she was around and popular, and he wanted to see how she would do. And, of course, they just brought out the best in each other.
It said that he gave her class and she gave him sex.
That's what they say.
It's a bit of a broad statement, but you can see that I think any partnership that's good and complementary would have something like that happen.
It's said that on screen Ginger did everything Fred did and backwards in high heels, but my favorite is when they danced side by side and she wore riding boots to Irving Berlin's Isn't That a Lovely Day to Be Caught in the Rain. Karen, do you have a favorite or two among all the numbers they did together?
I do have a favorite, and I actually mention it in the show, so I hope people still come, even though we give it away now. But my favorite is I'll Be Hard to Handle in Roberta. where they have this dialogue. She sings it in a funny way, and it's just a wonderful, unique song. And they have an argument in dance where she ends up actually slapping him and stepping on his foot, and then they sort of make up in dance.
And Steve, what's your favorite?
Well, the show, I always term it the most elegant love song, I think, ever, one of them at least ever written. It's The Way You Look Tonight. And the love songs are hard to do because you want to come at them from another where you'd be so easy to love, isn't it? A similar example to that. But the way you look tonight is obviously what a swain would say to a girl, and boy, does he ever say it beautifully.
From our July 13th broadcast, following their celebration of Fred and Ginger, Steve Ross and Karen Oberlin unite for the 25th Annual Cabaret Convention, October 20th through the 23rd, in the Rose Room, Jazz at Lincoln Center, Broadway and 60th Street in New York. Steve joins the tribute to singing piano players like himself. Karen helps salute songwriter Irving Berlin. Another night features songs from Finian's Rainbow and other collaborations of Burton Lane and Yip Harburg. And there's a 90th birthday celebration for Broadway and cabaret legend Julie Wilson.
Our homeward step was just as light as the tap dancing feet of a stair.
I seem to find the happiness I seek when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek.
And this has been For Your Ears Only.